Okay, guys, it's May the 30th of 2024. It's May the 30th of 2024. May 30, 2024. Let me see if I can. But yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'll just have the burrito this morning, the breakfast burrito. I'll have that this morning. But yeah, so it's
Joshua Snyder runs the ball. He's 45 and is closing tomorrow on the first hole he's owned. Did you get everything you're looking for? I think we did. But it took years of looking as prices kept going up.
I feel like it jumped 40% in 3 years.
Our poll finds 88% of Arizonans say buying a home is harder than it was for their parents.
So my parents are my age. They own a home and have been for a couple of years.
Laura Newkirk's parents helped her save for a down payment.
yeah. So guys, today I'm going to write a work paper. I'm going to author a work paper and publish it on script.com, my blog site, ShawnDexterJohn.wordpress.com. I'm going to have it posted and documented and stored at my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account. And I do want you guys to know this. I'm going to alter my URL, my website's, my blog site's URL. If I do purchase the subscription that I'm going to purchase with WordPress tomorrow or immediately thereafter, I will likely use the URL. My URL will become ShawnDexterJohn.com. Okay, so I might get that done tomorrow or immediately thereafter. If I don't, I'll try to remember to notify you guys that I did not do so. But I might do so right now. Okay, so I might be able to post a video recording or two on my blog website. Essentially, it's going to be officially a blog website at this particular point by all definitions. If I do change the URL to ShawnDexterJohn.com and designating purchasing the option, the Explorer option with WordPress.com. But anyway, I'm going to write a work paper on the legal. Essentially, the work paper will be the legal and political. Actually, legal. I don't need to have the before it. Usually, I don't have the before legal and political, political and legal. But essentially, it'll be legal and political tenets of the free trade and economic area of the Americas, EAA, in recovering the United States economy into world lead. And this respects, or this regards, the United States of America remaining the number one nation state economy in the world. It's going to be backed up by the continental, meaning the hemispheric economy which will evolve with the EAA. And so, essentially, the EAA and then the Union of the Americas will allow the United States of America to remain the wealthiest and the most commendable nation-state economy in the world. China will not be able to surpass the United States as the lead economy based on what we are seeing of the global war, World War III, underway for the most part. I'm pretty sure of it. Well, obviously, I've been revealing what I've needed to reveal to you guys regarding classified information, temporarily declassified. So, and I have not lied at all. Okay, so what I've consistently communicated is still true at this particular point, and we cannot envision any sort of alteration or any sort of deviation from this particular reality. So, if what is denoted as being prepared for on June 23rd, 2024 doesn't happen on that particular day, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen immediately thereafter, and I'm not too sure that's going to be a good thing. Obviously, right now everything is being staged, so if what happens in Manhattan, as I have detailed, happens on June 23rd, 2024, and I'm pretty sure it will happen that way, Then everyone, there will be no casualties. It's going to be staged by the United States military and the Russian military. There won't be any casualties in Lower Manhattan or Central Moscow, which would happen a few days afterward regarding military activity having to do with Ukraine and the current global war underway, or manifesting, however you want to define it. However you want to define it. Okay, so yeah, I promise you, June 23, 2024, and June 24th, 2024, appears to be the date of staging, having to do with excuse me, atomic weaponry, atomic bombing, and this and that, as detailed. Project Manhattan. Okay, that's what the NSA and the United States military, DoD, actually has denoted it as. Project Manhattan, possibly Endgame. You know, so, but this is going to happen, the World War III, the global war specifically, that's what it's going to be popularly designated as, will be declared by Russia and the United States. During the NBA draft weekend, or immediately thereafter, or possibly before then. But it's going to be declared quite soon. Events are going to take place which will make sure that it is denoted as such because of the bona fide nature of what has evolved over the past few years, which began with the war in Ukraine. So yes, so I'm going to write the work paper, and I'm going to publish it today. And once again, I'm the sole author. I'm the only author. And when I do say sole author, I mean the exclusive author, the only author. That's what it means. It does not mean the bottom author. I'm not too sure how anyone could get to the point of interpreting sole author as meaning the bottom author of several authors. No, that's clearly not what I intended to communicate, and that's clearly not what any person of common understanding or prudence would interpret or perceive of my usage of the phrase sole author. Okay? So, what else do I have to say? So, yeah. So once again, that's my security. I do have police officers driving around this neighborhood consistently, just making sure that everyone is notified that law enforcement is taking this particular neighborhood seriously, and that they don't want me to keep shutting down fast food restaurants and so forth for repurchase and by a bit more competent and prudent investors and so forth. When we do audit, if we do find that a franchise, whether it's a fast food restaurant or a convenience store or supermarket franchise or so forth, is highly racist or highly xenophobic or highly irresponsible, then sometimes, once again, if we do find that a fast food restaurant or a convenience store or a regular business, or a supermarket franchise, or within a supermarket chain or some sort of retail chain, or food and grocery chain or supplier is highly racist or highly xenophobic or highly unethical or inhumane in its treatment of others, or it's including its employees, So then I might be able to provide a recommendation for a repurchase by a competent or prudent or responsible, investor. So once again, I'm going to have to articulate this a bit better, because I'm pretty sure what I'm saying is understood, easily. But I just want you guys to know that I don't just say whatever comes to my mind. I actually know what I'm saying. I actually know what I'm intending for you guys to interpret of the content that I do provide, whether it's vocalized or whether it's transcribed and published online. But anyway, So if I do audit a fast food restaurant, or I do audit a retail store, or I do audit a supermarket chain or a franchise, or I do audit a small business, or even a corporation. Sometimes, civil society organizations which are backed by financial investment, I do recommend repurchase by responsible, mature, ethical, and competent investors if there are significant signs and indicators of unethical activity or even unethical activism. Or if I do find highly racist attitudes or highly xenophobic attitudes or highly discriminatory attitudes in general or peculiarly. Okay? I do also always have to, this is what happens in the morning. Okay, sometimes when I do make these video recordings in the morning, I do notice that, well, obviously that's just natural. A lot of cars do drive past, so sometimes I do have to pause. I do have to wait until the car drives past, and sometimes I do hear that there's a second car or a vehicle, whatever, on its way. So sometimes I do pause a bit longer, and sometimes the second or the third vehicle actually drives the other way, and so that's the reason why I usually wait until after 8 or 9 o'clock to be able to do the video recording. Sometimes I really do wake up at about 5 o'clock in the morning, most mornings, sometimes 6 o'clock, sometimes even earlier. But often I wait until 8, 9, 10 o'clock to be able to do this video recording. And it's still quiet outside for the most part until the cars drive past. But by 9 o'clock or so forth, you don't see or hear too many cars driving past. So yeah, I've audited universities before. I've audited, government offices before, and I do provide recommendations to have new management, or in certain aspects, new investors. If there are partnerships with private organizations or other private entities, so I've done that in the past. Okay. Oh my God. Yeah. So I did not, as a field auditor and agent, I did not focus merely on civil society organizations, government offices, and contractors with the Central Intelligence Agency and other federal agencies. I focused on small businesses, on franchises, including fast food restaurants, and including supermarket chains, including retail stores, including small businesses, as I have said before, including multinational corporations. I've inferred this many times before in my video recordings, but also I've articulated this precisely in earlier work papers and work reports. But I do focus on an assortment, a diversity of different industry and sector or sectoral actors and activists when I do my auditing job. But anyway, so I do provide recommendation when it is necessary to reassess the situation, and sometimes it results in the restructuring of the management or the restructuring of the investment portfolio or the investment negotiated terms and so forth. But anyway, I do want you guys to know this additionally. My estate account, my private estate account, financial estate account, it's backed by Truist. I'm pretty sure certain Truist specialists who work with the Central Intelligence Agency have certified that I do have real estate properties in Antigua and Barbuda and the Commonwealth of Dominica, and that I do have a portfolio of intellectual property within the Central Intelligence Agency database, which has provided me compensation as promised from my earlier trust fund appropriations and expectations as intended, you know. So yeah, at this particular point, all of my assets and all of the related instruments, all of the resources back, you know, associated with these assets, instruments, and some of the actually the funds themselves. But oh my God, they're just not gonna stop. Okay, so once again, my private financial estate account is now consolidated for the most part. Is worth $10 million. It really is. It was backed by real estate properties, which are being now designated as liquidated assets. And having gone through procedures, and having gotten to this particular point, this stature via procedures, lawful here in the United States and in foreign countries of association of direct and immediate relevance. And speaking of Antigua and Barbuda and the Commonwealth of Dominica, I've had real estate properties there ever since childhood, for the most part, which have developed into high-end residential properties and land properties also. High-end residential properties and land properties. And we have gotten to the point of selling some of these properties to make sure that my account and my portfolio demonstrates that I do have access immediately to $10 million and more, you know, for the most part. And that the cash or the money, which will be identified within this account, backed by Truist and Scotiabank and some other partners, financial institutions serving as partners, will serve as credit to my credibility as not only the chief manager of the United States government and its partnerships in focusing on political development, in focusing on community development, in focusing on the order of integration, in focusing on globalism, in focusing on economic integration, in focusing on financial rectification, and addressing the deficiencies of so many of the countries here in the Americas and across the world, and some of the hotspots here in the United States of America. You know, so we do have my team, the folks who have helped get me to this particular point in approaching gaining my corporate identity as my primary alias and identity, meaning Khaled Sundiata Hassan. Those folks who have helped me get to this particular point have identified those who have gotten me to this particular point have identified that I do have this financial estate account, and it has been certified by Scotiabank and Truist for the most part. It has been identified by Truist specialists who have communicated the validity, the certification, lawfulness, and the competency of the account itself, and the resources, identified as associated with that particular account, and that the purchases and the purchases, the initial purchases, and what has been sold since then have resulted in the account being certified as being of $10 million and plus, in worth, and within that particular worth, almost completely in cash assets, in cash itself, not cash assets, but cash. Okay, so it's approaching $10 million when it comes to cash at this particular point. If I do need to Well, I'm not gonna say anything else. I promise you guys. So yeah, I did have I did have several real estate properties in Antigua and Barbuda, actually high-end real estate properties. I don't want to say mansion, but essentially that's what they were. And they were gifted to me by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints via sponsorship from Marriott and Hilton and so forth. My grandmother, she has worked with a Marriott for almost 20, 30 years in the Central Intelligence Agency as some sort of associate in an audit and as a temporary and periodic auditor of the hospitality industry in Puerto Rico. But yeah, so Marriott and Hilton, they have sponsored the Church of Jesus Christ for Latter-day Saints, donation of certain, gifting, not even donation, obviously, gifting of a few high-end real estate properties, which were promised to me ever since childhood, and land property, and did designate that land properties owned in the Commonwealth of Dominica were of commendable value and so forth. They did help certify this. Yeah, so I did speak to some of the Jesuits, some of the Roman Catholics who are sure that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints isn't outrageous in having said yes to me having access to my exclusionary private estate account, and that my move to Coral Gables, South Florida, within 2 months or so. I'm going to have to say within 2 months. I would have said within a month, but within 2 months. We're going to be careful. Isn't dangerous at all, and that the security apparatus that I do have for the most part is transferable wherever I go, and especially to South Florida from Central Florida. So that should be able to work. That should be able to work. My move down there, I did use some of the money, for the most part, to ensure that the house purchased by the Central Intelligence Agency for me in Coral Gables, it has already been identified, and the 2 cars were insured and backed by my account, and that I am savvy enough, my true credibility or my true credit worth and so forth is credible enough, obviously, to be able to support that particular house having been purchased for me in Coral Gables, so that I will be right next to the University of Miami, Coral Gables. I'm going to have my official office there at the university, one of my offices, my law school office, and I should be able to have a private office in the city of Miami, right across. I'm not going to say right across the street, but obviously right next to Coral Gables. And I need you guys to also understand that that Miami Lakes, Miami Gardens, Miami Beach, Miami, Coral Gables, and some of these small neighborhoods, or even considerably towns, not even towns, small towns, will be incorporated within the city of Miami as one city. So like you see with Atlanta grew with time, and a lot of the small towns and the small neighborhoods, which were not initially part of Atlanta, they fell into the city limits with time. So that's what's going to happen with Miami. So the Miami-Dade, concept, which has become popular in Florida, will eventually, with time, it's going to be outdone by the enlarged, by the branched out city of Miami. So yeah, Miami Gardens, Apalaca, Miami Lakes, Miami Beach, all of that, Coral Gables, all of that will be part of the city of Miami. Officially, they will all be within the city limits. Once again, they're all going to be within the city limits. I'm not saying anything else when I'm saying this. Okay, so yeah. So I do have plans of being the first, essentially, the executive chairman or the executive manager, the first executive manager or first executive chairman of sorts of the EAA, and I should come around about 2026, 2027. And that particular office, that particular position. Yeah, so I am the Khalid Sundiata Hassan, who will be able to transform into, I'm going to walk into heaven. I'm honestly Jesus Christ. I am God. God himself. I am really God. You know, so I'm going to walk into heaven, and 2 days later I'm going to return completely, I guess, stretched out. I'm going to be about 6'8", 6'9". I'm going to look similar. My eyes will look similar. My nose and my bottom lip. I'll look similar enough. But I'm going to be about 6'8" for the most part. And yeah, okay. So I'm not going to be. When I say I'm going to be hefty, I'm not going to be fat. I'm not going to be overweight. But I'm not going to be skinny. You know. But I'm going to be about 6'8" and so forth. And people are going to want to see the transformation, but it's going to be a bit more procedural. You know, it's not going to, obviously it's not going to be broadcasted in any sort of form that's going to breach the integrity of our relations with folks here, us from heaven, or vice versa. Okay, so we're going to have to be very careful with that naturally. Okay. So, they said they're going to try to shrink me back to, they're going to try to shrink me to 6'5", 6'6". Well, we'll see. But we'll see what the final, what I do with my final profile. Yeah, but I have decided I will be the one who designs my avatar, my human body, my new human body I'm going to receive. Essentially it's going to be a new human body, a new human avatar, and I will be about 6'8", 6'9". And if I decide at the last moment to be 6'6" instead, then so be it. But I'm the one who's going to design it. I'm the one who's going to design. I'm the one who's going to design Rashida's avatar. It's my job to be able to do what I have to do to protect her from the hells that she's been through. So I do know how to calculate all of these things. I had to allow her to go through the miseries of life without me being consistently there, even though she has my 3 children, and I promise you those are my 3 biological children with her. And but anyway, I have to do what I have to do to prevent her from going through the miseries that she has gone through over the past 15 years and haven't been identified as my chief wife and angel. So once again, I want you guys to understand this. I will decide what avatar, what new human body, human avatar Rashida Williams will receive when I walk into heaven and we return. She's going to still be light skinned. She's not going to be as pretty as she is, but I'm going to design it. I'm going to do the final output. I'm going to do the final designs by, when I get there, okay, or between now and then. But yeah, but she'll be perceived as regal, a bit more regal. She'll be perceived, very similar to Michelle Obama or Eleanor Roosevelt or Oprah Winfrey. And so forth. She'll seem a bit more regal. There will be no threat of her sexualization or her being sexualized by any sort of entity or individual. Obviously, I won't allow any of that. I'm going to be quite assertive in making sure of that. But yeah, so I want you guys to know I'm always serious. Even though I'm patient in giving people and governments the opportunity to do the right thing, when I get to the point of making my judgment and I say that's enough and that's what I'm going to do, when I do spell it out, and I have, that's what I do, and there's no getting in the way of that. Okay?